Today we have joining me Matt Canoy.
Ooh.
Welcome onto the podcast.
Hello.
I'm pretty excited to have you on. I'm
It was
looking
exciting for
forward
me
to-
just hearing that you had a podcast because most think you're the second or third name over my course at climbing at HB of people that I've met that actually have had their own podcasts.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I was like, oh, there's a select few. And here I am also trying to start my own as well.
Yeah, I did. I remember talking with you about that. I have to maybe talk about that along the line later on.
Later.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the question: what is your story?
Okay. How much time? I guess you can limit me on detail because I can really talk about the nuances of my adolescence through teenage years, through we'll say college, post college, because each one of those sections has, I would say, a different version of me at every point. And this just comes with my history of being someone who's moved so much. Like, for example, I've moved physical locations where I've had to like live or stay for a period of time, over 24.
Wow.
So like that's one aspect. I've been to 6 elementary/middle schools. I went to 4 high schools. I've lived on the East and the West Coast. I've done road trips. I guess I call it the happy face. I've done the West, the South, and the East Coast. Haven't gone too much in the center or the North. It's like one of my, we'll call it like my older life goals as an American. I got to do the top coast drive.
Yeah.
But not all of those was I actually the person that did all the driving, because obviously when I was younger, I just went on road trips with my family. But I do want to make those drives. I think that would be fun.
Okay.
So like my one American bucket list thing of sites to do or see.
Yeah.
But I guess, where do you want me to go? Or is there a particular nugget that you want me to like attack in my really long life story? Because I got stories from like each section.
There isn't anything in particular that I want to know. I kind of want to know about your story from your own perspective.
Ooh.
Yeah. So just like how you would answer this question.
I thought about this a bit in the sense that what would my story be called if I wrote it? Like, what is my autobiographical title?
Yeah.
And many years ago, I landed on one simple line, and it kind of has continued to ring true every time I rethought about it. It's like, Matt Canoy, stumbling forward.
Stumbling forward.
That is me. Except it's less of stumbling and more like running, stumbling forward. Because I always try to go really hard at whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Which might mean a completely menial thing to someone else. You know, like for example, being around people during my age when I was growing up, a lot of people still look down on video games. Whereas now, current generation, if you're a god, like, you know, you're respected.
Yeah.
Except back in those days, you're just the nerd.
Yeah.
You're the, in quotes, token Asian guy. And I grew up in small town Florida, so like I definitely experienced like that in like a different sense as well. In true youth, I was like one of 3 Asians in my high school, I think, at a point.
Wow.
But it was essentially small, but at the same time, small town.
Yeah.
Small college. Or not college, high school. And then when I got to college, I think that's when the world was more, you know, you get a piece of everywhere. Whereas you have your local school systems that have just a statistical blueprint of the people that you're going to be seeing, et cetera, right?
Right.
But yeah, stumbling forward. I mean, even just talking about the act of stumbling, I was always known as a kid for someone that fell a lot. Like always had an attitude to go and do the crazy. Like one of my favorite games as a kid with my cousins, we used to play, we called it Blind Man's Bluff. Do you know about that game?
I don't.
The idea is that it's essentially Marco Polo, except there's no Marco Polo. The person that's doing the Marco Poloing doesn't get to say anything. No one says anything. It's a game of pure silence, and you just have to find the people. So it's literally just
blindfolded.
Completely blindfolded.
Wow.
You're just like ninjaing around, just trying to touch. And like if you hear movement, you just go. There's no Marco Polo. You have to like sometimes if people get in really good positions, you're never gonna find me.
Wow.
And it's like someone just says they give up. It's like, I give up. And it's like, oh, someone's gonna be the next guy.
Oh, wow, it's very like just the concept of that game. It sounds very interesting, but
Try,
also like
try
you
it.
have to have an like a level of
Spatial awareness
confidence. Yeah, spatial awareness and like confidence, like going about.
to not get hurt. We used to
Yeah,
play in really cramped rooms. Grew up in a, semi-standard Asian house.
mm,
Things just kind of pile up in places.
yeah,
There's potential hazards at every turn,
yeah.
but you get pretty good at not knocking anything down,
Mm,
or just like always delicately touching something. Like, okay, so if I touched this, I know where this is in relation to the room, so I'm here. So if I run my hand along this couch, I know how long it is, and like that'll be where to the wall is. So it's like
mm,
it helps you build that mental blueprint,
right.
which unironically has translated wonderfully to climbing.
Clothing. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But I was always known for falling over. Like, for
Mm,
example, my shins
mhm.
from just scabbing from falling on concrete as a kid, I just don't really grow hair in certain parts. You see hair, and then there's just like none here, none here. It's just because the skin stopped. I think it's just all scar.
Wow.
I mean, I also still have, I was going to say, I used to, I still have the partially masochistic tendency to like poke at scabs a little bit. I even have the new crack climbing scabs on my fists.
Yeah.
I still poke at them. Do I really care that the scar tissue is going to remain? It's going to be strange? Not really at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But if someone told me that it decreased the physical integrity, like biomechanically of like my skin and making it more prone to like listed off a slew of actual negatives that would
Mhm.
impair me to a functional standpoint,
Mm.
then I'd reconsider.
Mm.
Leave it in the comments.
Because then it would take on a different it would have a different impact,
Mhm.
right?
It'd have a purpose because right now it's just cosmetic. It's
Right.
cosmetic, and also the pain.
Mhm.
I can stab and poke this and not care. Like that doesn't bother me. Oh look, it's bleeding. Actually, I just opened it again. Nice. I'll try not to get blood in your office. But stumbling forward, that's one aspect.
Mhm.
There's also like a very famous ankle injury that I got when I was young.
Mhm.
Recess ended. I was the last one to leave, as in like, get off the playground and stuff.
Yeah.
Noticed that no one was out. So I was like, am I going to get in trouble? And I did the one thing we do as kids. It's like, oh, I can jump off this. I'm immortal. If I
Right.
land, nothing bad's going to happen, right?
Right.
And it was a sand filled like playgroundish area. So I'm like,
Mm.
this is sand. Like I've
Yeah.
jumped on sand before. And wow, that's really bleeding. And I landed with a sideways ankle. So I immediately started crying. Like the next thing I remember doing is just like armor, like elbow walking because I couldn't
Yeah,
stand up
it's like
anymore.
crawling.
And all the teachers were gone. All the kids were gone because they all just went back into like for afternoon lunch hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like one other teacher just like came out randomly and found me.
Wow.
But since then, I've noticed, especially, and actually, I noticed it, I guess, in the most replicable way during COVID when I went through one of my crazy fitness journey arcs, which is another story if you want to hear that,
Mhm.
where I found out that my leg and my ankle is just kind of crooked.
Oh.
One of the things I wanted to do during COVID,
Mhm.
because I was trying to find ways to force myself to go outside because we were, I couldn't go in the office anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, Matt, you're going to become a runner and it's going to be awesome. You're going to keep on listening to these awesome David Goggins books. You're just going to just go every
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
on schedule. And nothing is more depressing than running, not feeling tired at all, but then feeling like your knee is going to break. So just like I'm running. Pace is great. And then as soon as you stop and just like, why does my knee feel like it's going to snap? It's just my right knee. Because I just think the angle of my stride
Mhm.
from also not really practicing running much throughout my entire life. So like
Yeah.
trying to do it now, my body is just like, we don't know the proper angle to apply force in a repeated fashion.
Wow.
And then I read a book on like running and it talked about like the force and the stride of like how your heel. I didn't know how to run at all,
Yeah.
which, is another road we can go down to and how I hate education. I
Mhm.
wish they taught people things like running, like actual form of running, not just go run,
Yeah, not just go.
not just go. But that, I guess, kind of covers adolescence to a point. But like I said, there's a whole lot of Matt history that I
Mm,
can pull out.
yeah.
Started gaming when I was 2. I've like one of my earliest memories was sitting on the floor and like holding the Nintendo Square and a controller and playing Mario.
Mhm.
Duck Hunt was one of the OGs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We used to, everyone kind of cheated at times. You place the gun on the screen and you click the gun to make sure you didn't miss. Sometimes the birds on the old CRTs.
Uh-huh.
Nope, not missing. I'm placing my finger on my Hydro Flask if you can hear.
Okay, so I want to go back to you having moved around a lot.
Mhm.
I'm a little bit more curious about that. So could you tell me like a little bit more about that?
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't really happen at all ever until I think I was 6 or 7. I can't remember the exact age I was when we moved from. It was just my mom and I.
mhm.
Uh, we moved with one of her friends' families, and they all wanted to go to California.
Okay.
And we also did have family already in California, but half the family's California, and then the other like part was in Florida. That was just
Mm,
like how things were split up, and then Philippines, obviously.
mhm.
But you made the decision. I think I played a role in the decision. Big quotes there, because I don't remember what influence I even had on it. I just knew that I was like, whatever, let's go.
Yeah, we're going.
I remember watching Beavis and Butthead Do America on the floor on the TV like the day before we left, and I was just like, I didn't understand the impact of what it actually meant to leave home. Because I had been there for about
Right.
6 years at that point, maybe 6, 7, I can't remember.
Mm,
And I had grown up in a house the entire time, and directly across the street, like facing door to door, was the house of my cousins, and they were
mm.
like my first true like best friends.
Yeah.
It's just like I would want to cross over there, they run across over here. Many great memories. They're the people that I played Blind Man's Bluff with a lot. Like
Ah.
they're the ones that showed me gaming,
Mhm.
because like their parents got them the Nintendo systems. Like, whoa, it's great. And then I remember my glorious moment when I got the N64.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, now we're upgrading. But it was like since that time, we moved all the way to San Diego. Some time passed. I was at one Catholic school, and I don't even know the reason anymore, to be honest. But mom just decided to move, get her own place with us. It was just me and her, and then I think my grandparents were also with us. Not always. I think they also like hopped between, you know, all the kids because my mom's like one of 7.
Mm.
So, hop between the kids where
Yeah.
you're staying with grandparent life. And then since then, it had just been a series of more so, I believe, and I'm sorry if I'm slandering you in some way, mom. It's just kind of like a feels thing, like a change of scenery or different job or just like better place to be or around other friends and family. We just kind of hopped between those sectors.
Okay.
Like there was a time we X number of times moved since then, went to this area in National City
Mhm.
because some cousins and like cousins were there. So we just lived there for a while, and that was kind of really fun. It was unironically similar to how it was like back in Florida when I was just across from my other cousins,
Mhm.
because we got a place that was literally across the street and just run over there and I play with them. Um, one of my earliest almost die moments happened there because their house was on this crazy high hill,
Uh-huh.
and we did the thing that you're not supposed to do that parents tell you not to do. It's like, don't go over the fence because you might slide and fall off. And of course we went like over the side and like went down. And then there was one day when I almost like it was like a V3 slab, and I almost just slid down the mountain.
Oh no.
Oh no, I didn't though. I'm still here.
Oh wow.
And that was the last day that I did that.
Smart decisions.
I mean, a decision.
A decision, yeah.
A decision.
Okay.
But it just kind of always transpired in that way
Mhm.
because I never felt like it was oh, things are really bad here or like danger or, other, I guess, more easily understandable reasons of why like there would be a true trigger to perform the move, but it just kind of always happened. And
Yeah.
since then, and among other things also relating to that, I think it has greatly shifted my attachment to the physical side of things,
Mm.
be it people, be it places, be it
Mhm.
possessions. When you move so much, you really don't care
Right.
about a lot of things.
Right.
Chair,
Right.
desk, slept on the floor a lot. I think it's just also maybe an Asian thing, but
Mhm.
doesn't really matter what I sleep in or on.
Mm. So would you say that it's really shaped how you look at material things nowadays
Oh, for
and like
sure.
your outlook in the future?
Hmm. Yeah, the physical side of possessions,
Mhm.
and to a degree, I think this one makes me more sad than it does like a neutral or positive feeling, like attachment to people,
Mm.
because I can easily see how meeting so many people.
Mhm.
I was changing schools every year.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, let me get the exact history. So pre-K, there was just some school. K and 1 were the same.
Mhm.
2 was different. 3 was different. 4 4 and 5 was one. 6 was different, and then came back 7, 8. So like there was just a gap in that period of time. Then high school hit. 1 during freshman year, 2 during sophomore, and then junior and senior were at 1.
Wow.
Like, just imagine how many people you meet. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was moving in the same district sometimes, like San Diego, multiple parts of San Diego, Florida. We have the small town Florida area, and then like went to Orlando. It's a lot of people places, but I never was a traveled person from like an international way. I don't
Mhm.
believe unless there was like a hidden trip from my youth. I think the first time I went out of the States was when I was 21.
Mm.
And since then, I had gone only once to Mexico for like a random trip with some friends. Oh,
Mhm.
wait, I feel so bad. And the time that I went with my mom to Korea just this year. That was it's like, wait, nope, there's one super recent one. That was the last one.
Mm. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot,
Interesting.
man.
Yeah. 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 It's really interesting that like I can definitely see how your attachment to both people, places, and material things um has been really impacted just by the fact that you've moved so much. Um and so something that I'm kind of curious about is like correct me if I'm wrong, but you place a lot of like value and emphasis on your health, right?
Mhm.
And fitness.
Yep.
Okay. Um now
Now I do.
now you do.
I didn't care about virtually any exercise
Uh-huh.
until I was 21.
Hmm.
I didn't care at all.
Did
I was
it
just a gamer.
did it start with climbing?
Nope.
Okay.
I started climbing when I was 30.
Oh, okay. So did you have a like previous then when you started exercising at 21,
Mhm.
what did it start out with?
I literally did the traditional thing. I had joined a new gym and I
Uh-huh.
got a trainer.
Oh, okay.
I believe I got the trainer immediately. I
Mhm.
did some things on my own first because it was just kind of like me figuring things out. But then
Right.
I think I got one pretty shortly after.
Okay.
But then maybe like the first 2, 3 months,
Okay. Um
knew nothing. Couldn't do 10 push-ups. Couldn't
uh-huh.
do a pull-up, and I have no idea how bad my squats were. I think 10 body squats to like make my legs wiggle. Like I was just a gamer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at where you are now. Like,
No.
it's a huge, huge development.
Yeah.
Huge development.
Yeah. I mean, I did start off really low, but then I did take the route of just kind of understanding body weight.
Mhm.
During that time, I really took the very traditional route of understanding traditional bodybuilding. You
Mm.
know, I had my splits, I had my rep schemes, I
Mhm.
had YouTube channels where I just like, figure out how people are working out. I fell in love partially with calisthenics side of things. I thought pull-ups were fun, so like I just got really good at doing pull-ups and
Yeah.
things like that, and I took that back with me. During this time, I was actually living in the Philippines. That's
Okay.
like when I had my in quotes fitness arc, and then when I came back to the States, I was already fitish, and then
Mm.
I just got stronger.
Okay.
But then since then, I've had maybe two or three stagnant arcs where like I did nothing. I
Mm.
had my super fat arc where I blew up to, I don't ever believe I got to 240, but I
Uh-huh.
got into the high 230s. It was a bit chunky. That was a lot of drinking, a lot of sadness, and a lot of food.
Oh, wow. That'll do it to you.
That did it really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can, when you understand calorie counting and
Mm.
you understand what, like, in quotes, an alcoholic drinks, and then you think about, oh, wait, all of those are empty calories that your body can't use. So you're just going to store a lot more.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And some people just happen to have those hyperactive systems where they are actually just burning at such an awesome rate to offset how much they're drinking, which is, kudos to them. Just
Mhm.
even think about how chess players burn like thousands to 10,000 plus calories on like a tournament day just because they're thinking.
Right.
They're sitting and they're burning that much thinking,
Wow.
right?
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really cared about any of it, nor did I think I knew anything of it until like starting at 21.
Mm. So, was your decision to get a trainer because you wanted to like learn about it and improve, or was it because you felt stagnant?
Lost.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
where, I don't know what to do.
Uh huh.
I don't know what to do. All these machines look confusing.
Uh huh.
And when you start Googling certain lifts and you find out, oh, I can just actually hurt myself, it'd be a good idea to have someone to be like, no, 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 arm shouldn't be bent like that. Oh, nope, back shouldn't be like that.
Right.
Because you can't really see all angles at yourself. One, two, know all what the bad angles are. Because you might have to see them, but you don't know what they mean.
Hmm.
Like you don't know what a certain type of pain or tweak is. Like there are so many things that someone can just like nudge you. It's like, don't do that. No, you really don't want your foot to twist in this way when you step on this foothold because it'll do something really bad to your knee. It's like
Mm.
things like that. Or how I tell people when you're driving from a heel, vertical might be like a nice tighter fit, but if you need to like really pull hard, you should probably rotate out the foot a bit so you use like the bigger hamstring muscle. Like
Mm.
that's actually something that I learned from uh, Dan Bell and Mr. Hooper from Hooper's Beta.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
like little physiology thing. Like you get
Yeah.
to use the big, I think they call it the biceps femoris. Hopefully I remember that title right. But like this way, just the vertical is like you can just even feel it's like, oh, it's like a thin muscle. Then you
Mm.
slightly rotate the leg and you curl. It's like that's the big muscle. And it's
Mm.
so strange just how those small things can actually change how much force you can apply.
Mhm.
And force application is the game when you're working out, right? You're trying
Yeah.
to exert a good amount of force to promote the worthy amount of um wow, that was awesome. Siri just
Siri just
triggered for
popped up.
some stream. She just wanted to
Yeah.
chime in.
Yeah.
Um sorry, Siri, you messed me up.
Popped out of nowhere.
How did that even activate? It's
No.
okay. I tend to think that technology just starts malfunctioning around me. I've had like one of those fun times. Did you ever have the Xbox 360?
Yes.
So brief
Long,
tangent.
long time
A long
ago.
time ago, right? Did you get the Red Ring of Death?
I did not. What is that?
The Red Ring of Death was just like this unfortunate malfunction where, you hit the button, you'd see all like the gold, not gold, the green rings like light up, right?
Mhm.
The Red Ring of Death was like, I think it was 3 rings and it was like top left, top right, and bottom left or something like that. And when that happened, your just Xbox was not going to turn on again.
Like it was just broken?
It just broke. Like you had to get it replaced or whatever. And everyone had like their go-to like methods to like fix this thing. Akin to how in Super Nintendo days, you got to blow in the cartridge or you got to clean the disc.
Yeah.
You know, cleaning the disc actually damages it, makes it so it can't render anymore. But like, you know, or how blowing the cartridge was more placebo in a lot of facts because it actually can just damage the the chip or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, red ring of death. And then I remember going over to my friend Dan's place when he was in college with me. And like he got the red ring. And I remember just walking over to his Xbox and I'm just like, you know, it'd be really awesome if you just like worked at least like one more time for my buddy Dan. Will you do that for me? And I hit the button just like that. Ring. I was like, sweet. And then after that, it never turned on again. So things either work or horrifically don't work. And I call that my suspicion towards technology with my life. But
wow,
brief tangent.
Well,
technology is funny.
It is. It act up sometimes.
It'd be acting up.
Yeah.
And people be releasing broken things like fireball iPhones. You know, iPhones that just... didn't Apple just release an update that was talking about a software update that reduces or stops like the rapid temperature increasing on the phones?
Oh.
Yeah. And as someone that's had to develop like Apple products for the last decade plus, there is an uncanny amount of logic you actually have to do if you create an application that will get the phone to those temperature levels. There's a hidden set of temperature levels inside like the iOS code base where that if the phone ever gets to these readings, not only can you not stop it, the phone will just nuke its processing power in order to recover. It has like a failsafe. So, for example, if you're doing a lot of AR, VR, or like you're doing some obscene calculations, your phone turns into a fireball. Like, especially if you're playing certain games, like people just holding their phones and like, why is this so hot?
Yeah.
That's just is what it is. It's doing a lot. And on my side, with like the history of my line of work, you can respond to those events and like try to do things differently or like reduce the amount of processing on something from, you know, a couple milliseconds to you're going to wait a lot of milliseconds before it tries to do this thing again, like a repeated task in order to stop the phone, like to get it back into this good zone where it can still perform. Brief tangent, but you know, technology be wild.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people be trying to say that they understand why things are doing things. And I'm just looking at them. You're not a dev. You don't know. You really don't know. But it's fun to like listen to the speculation that I hear from everybody. Oh, that's why you think that is? Okay, cool.
Interesting. Interesting line of thought.
Yeah.
Interesting line of thought. Okay. Okay, so coming back to fitness, I know that you've been climbing for a couple of years now, like 4, you said?
Technically started in the middle of 2019.
Okay, so about 4 years. So something that I'm curious as to like what your opinion is on is if you had advice for someone that's like just starting out climbing, what is some advice that you would give them that wouldn't be like so intuitive in terms of climbing?
Got it. So how would I, in quotes, if I had a fictitious client that kind of that had no prior experience and that wanted me to help them get started, right? Essentially?
Yeah.
Cool. I would first off, let's paint a fictitious scenario, Alan.
Okay.
You are said person.
Okay.
You walk into the gym and for some reason everyone's, you walk up like, is anyone can help me with climbing or whatnot? For some reason, everyone's like booked or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. But then someone just passes by and is like, oh, you need help? You can ask Matt.
Perfect.
Not because this has happened.
Oh, really?
Just ask Matt. And you'd come over. And I'd be like, oh, hey, you come over. Let's do some fake role play.
Okay,
cool.
Okay. Hey Matt, I'm new to the gym. I was wondering if you could like help me out. I don't know what to do.
Okay, well, I would look at, am I judging it as if like you're a new climber that is Alan strong or not strong?
Not strong.
Cool. Okay. So it's a person we'll call by just straight, dogging them with your eyes. You're like, this person's a 3 on the fitness scale.
Okay.
They can get up, they can go, they feel general pain from their day to day, and we'll say that their one thing is they go for hikes. They do like a nice hike every week to 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So general good cardiovascular health, but we'll say that their finger strength does not exist.
Right.
And we'll say that on a good day, they can get a pull-up.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll call that's the baseline we're going to just start people at.
Okay.
Okay. So I would look at you and it's like, okay, awesome. How much time do you have today?
About an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to come in like more often, or are you like potentially a 1 time a week guy or a couple times?
Yeah, I was thinking 2 times a week.
2 times a week. Perfect. That actually simplifies things a lot. So climbing, especially for you that hasn't done it, I would highly recommend you just getting really attuned to how your body feels on easy movement. So I want you to come with me. We're going to just do like this. We're going to do like a grade scale. You and I are just going to walk through. I'm going to bring you to this area in the back. It's called the nest. And I'm going to have you do some zeros. And actually, there's a VB back there. I want to figure out. So I'd see you climb. I would see some movement. I would notice potentially many a thing wrong with what hand is grabbing to what. You would come down and be like, all right, Alan, first tip and trick. You look at the holds on the wall, you'll notice that there's chalk, obviously, on all the holds. And then you'd look at me and be like, Matt, do you know chalk? No, I don't chalk. Then I would say, if you look at all the holds, you can see where the side that a hand will be touching it, because that's where the chalk is at. So if you take that and you just kind of map out the correct angle on your hand, so if you line it up, you should be able to create a perpendicular line from where the chalk is to where roughly your hand placement is going to be. Right? So just kind of, I would mimic what I'm doing right now in front of Alan. I would kind of mime the direct angle for each hold. So I'd say, okay, you're going to start on this hold, 2 hands down, and I'm going to go out for the right. I'm going to pivot, hit my foot so that this foot can grab. And I would kind of show him the reason why I'd be mimicking it, because I would want them to start to look at the wall, not as, oh, I see holds. I look at the wall, and you can start for yourself simulating where your arms and legs and body are going to be. So one thing I tell people is take your hands and holds, put them in the air, and do every single move, just arms, no feet. So our hand's going to go here, then what? That hand has to go here, right? Well, then how are you going to shift your hand to the left side? Well, my hand has to kind of turn over like this. I'm like, good. And then once they understand those movements, all right, now where do you think your feet are going to be? And then you start to run through that exercise. And if you get someone to a place where they can visualize, or at the very least have that gut feeling, where they have some sense of belief that the movements that they have planned out, you can be as literal as writing it on paper. I think Alex Honnold literally like wrote tons of notes of like foot here, chip here, pull on this. Yeah. It's because all of those triggers allow you to relive a particular moment, a particular feeling in your body, etc. And the more that you can cultivate that kind of mind to muscle connection, it's kind of like even just in base weight training. When you do a seated row that's on a cable machine, don't just like pull it, but at every point that the cable's moving, try to think about what muscles are like getting tighter and tighter and tighter as you like reach the apex of the movement. And even as you're what are the terms? I always forget the term. Concentric, eccentric. On the the eccentric side, try to think about how the muscles and everything is like going back. And the more that you can foster that connection, the more you understand, like, especially when it comes to weight training more, what that muscle can output. Like, how much force can you load on this guy? How much force can you load on one arm? And especially like now, I'm hit the point in climbing where I've had to do so much single limb training. Yeah. You got to work on your pistols, because in climbing a lot, you're not driving from your feet with heels down. That's about 1% of the climbing you're doing. 99 involves you on one toe. One big old toe and your awesome rubber climbing shoes, right? Yeah. So it's like, why not train things that have toe-centric leg movement? If all of your movement is on your toes, you should be training squats and lunges and strange variations that keep you on your toes. Because it's not just about the driving force anymore. You need to care about the entire like elasticity of the entire chain. Your ankle needs to be able to go up and down while still remaining completely flexed and engaged. You can't rely on your heel. You can't rely on that skeleton, except like in those like full like leg press wall dihedral type movements. But even then, the amount of force that you need to generate is never going to be above like 2 times body weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
At most, 1 times body weight. How much you weigh. Right? And just one leg. So like my general rule of people is in climbing, because I can't even super do this now. If you can do a 1-arm pull-up with both of your arms, you can do pistols on both of your legs, and you can do 1-arm push-ups, I would say climbing is probably going to be pretty chill for the most part. Then fingers. You're just going to be sad. It is what it is. Finger strength takes a long time to build, and you have to be very delicate about it. Do you want to talk about finger strength?
Yes.
Because I think about it a lot now.
Yes.
And how my, in quotes, physically old man hands wish that they started climbing when I was young. Because I'm looking at the youngins, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And their finger strength has grown from nothing to a crazy amount of power.
Yeah.
In half a year.
Yeah.
My goodness. If I had that, I'd be so strong. But it's just, then I would probably talk on a future session. So to go back to this fictitious role play scenario of Alan being the new climber kid, I would have him go through a series of climbs of the super low grades, and I would just point out a lot of really small things. I would say, oh, this would be really good to use. It's called a drop knee. I want you to, I would mimic going up on that wall and show them how to engage the drop knee properly.
Right.
And then have them do the exact same move on a V0 climb that's half a foot on the wall. The reason why is because I want them to feel what it turns into, because and every climber knows, when you get a good drop knee, you're like, I've never felt more secure in my life.
Yeah.
Physics.
Yeah.
But if your foot's not in the drop knee, you're like, why is there so much force on this left hand and left leg or whatever, right?
Yeah.
A drop knee is crazy, but you have to just kind of sit in it for a while to just get them to be in all of those really, we'll call them key climber positions, half a foot off the ground, zero fear. And they might literally get tired from just doing that, because at the end of the day, you're probably going to tell them to with one arm. And if they can't hang even at a semi incline angle, for those people that have done cable rings that hook on a bar and do a lot of things at slightly offset incline angles, like a bent row, etc. If they can't handle that, this is a great place for them to start, right?
Right.
Very simple, slight incline, low on the ground, and just learn how to really position and also learn how to reach. Because one thing about climbing is making sure that you're driving, but then pulling in to reach high instead of fully T-Rexing. And T-Rexing is when you kind of lock your elbows in front of your chest. And we'll say that the top of your wrists are kind of, closer in line with your shoulders. As if you climb and you just kind of raise your hands up. And then if you just pulled them all the way straight vertically down, you'd be in the nice, funny T-Rex position, right? But when in climbing, more often than not, you're going to have one arm that is locked off, T-Rexing, but one arm is hyperextending. And usually this happens when your arms go from fully extended to one bends down and one continues to reach, right? You're almost always in a super high-fived position, reaching for things. It's either super sideways or super vertical or straight forward. But usually one hand is pulling in one very specific angle to allow you the tension to reach for certain holds.
Right.
So I would just kind of go through all of those things. You'd probably be battered up easily in 30, 40 minutes, because I would do the we'll call it evil thing of overtaxing their body with a pump early, because I want them to understand what that pump feels like before they go high.
On the easy grades.
On the easy grades. Because
Right.
nothing is more terrifying than hitting, I'm going to say this amazing word that Eli coined. He calls it terminal pump.
Terminal pump.
Terminal pump. Terminal pump is now defined as the state where you have so much pump that that muscle group physically just can't do anything for like 30, 40 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
We've all done a hard climb or a hard lift and you're like, my hand still doesn't want to close.
Yeah.
That's terminal pump.
Yeah.
And we all know that when you go for certain climbs, you hit terminal pump and you're 2 holds away from the top.
Mm.
And if you're not prepared to like either bite down through that or the thing that I really get mad at people about, knowing how to safely fall or dismount a problem, you might be in real danger. And that's the kind of thing that really bothers me.
Right.
So first session, let him understand terminal pump on super easy things, not even that high. Let him feel it. He'll like their arm would just be dead. It's probably just all forearm by the end of it because I'm making them do specifically long arm, constant engaged like positions so that like their entire forearm top to back is hurting. Then on a future day, if I had it my way, I would have them do fall practice in front of me. If they feel fine with fall practice, which I define fall practice as this really, I mean, it sounds evil, but if you know someone has that fear and they're okay with it, you know, you guys are friends, not just like a stranger. You make them go up a climb that's fairly high and you tell them to jump. And there is a correct way to land and fall. And it deals with like rolling and bending and making sure that you disperse the weight. A lot of people like to do super heel landings. Bro, it's cool. And you look awesome every time. But the last thing I want to hear is someone going, oh, I landed weird. And now my foot feels strange. And I'm like, you would have never had this problem if you don't do it.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but what's a super heel?
Oh, when people just straight land, you know, like Captain America, slightly bend their knees and they just kind of walk off.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
And every time I look at that, I'm like, those knees are breaking one day or those ankles gonna snap. And it's not like it's gonna happen from just like one slight angle. It's more like accruing of damage.
Right.
Those pads are good, but at the same time, what I learned from running, a lot of force has to go through that entire chain.
Right.
And more often than not, also, people don't really bend their knees, and it causes their torso to bend over at the hinge, you know, at like the hips, and it causes insane back pain. So if you're a climber and you notice that you superhero land and you got back pain, you know why. It's you. It's not your job. It's probably not even how you sleep. It's how you land. Just being real.
Yeah. Yeah. I never even thought about like the importance of falling. I kind of just always approached it as like as long as you don't fall on your neck, like you're fine. As long as you don't fall on your neck, your hands, or like with straight knees, like you're fine.
Yeah.
But now that you mention it, like a lot of pressure does build up.
Yeah.
It does build up.
I see people walking out look like they died. Like, no, I walk out feeling awesome every time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. But, you know, a gym that was just all water, it's crazy. You know, actually, I want that.
That would be.
I would love, you know, someone make it or give me a lot of money to make it because I'll do it. This dome. So you walk into this like ultra amphitheater dome, right? And all they are is like a series of like foam pathways that like walk up to the wall. And you're just doing crazy like incline or vertical soloing. And it's just the entire gym is that.
That's
so sick. It's just meant to be crazy and also meant to be high because you're just gonna fall into what, a 25-foot pool or something like that.
Yeah.
But you know, I do like all the high soloing I've been seeing lately. I think it's the Seco block or something. I forgot its name, but it's just this crazy wave wall that goes like 50 feet over a pool. It's like, yeah, I don't need it to be 50 feet. Give me 20 feet and a lot of it. Like a gym-sized amount of 20-foot high, like water walls.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. Though I would want to like, let the dogs out. I'm talking about my toes. But I'm not sure if I want, foot and hand on everything. But that's a fever dream one day.
Mm. Yeah. So, going back, you mentioned that um, you think like the most important thing to train would be like one limb focused exercises.
For climbing,
For yeah.
so in terms of strength assessment,
Uh-huh.
one limb. In terms of standard training, do both.
Do both. Okay.
Do both. Because when in doubt, when one arm is at hyper deficit, because most people have some kind of lifelong asymmetry just due to their line of work, what they do, etc. Like you have, I mean, this is a really bad comparison, but arm wrestlers, one arm's really good, right?
Right, right.
And you can't just like you can do double sided whatever to like help offset. Also helps that like symmetry back, but at the same time, people are like, I need to only work my left so that it catches up to my right. And I say, why not work both at the same time? You continue gaining. There's nothing wrong. Just do both. But every time you want to assess your strength in climbing, I would do it single limb.
Okay. So it's just to like see where you're at? Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, climbing is a lot of the highest level safety and strength positions rely on one limb only, right? You have a toe doing a crazy amount of pulling or pressing. You have one arm that's probably locking off all nuts. Like that just is the strength to train, to understand. And it's not always a maximum force output. There's a lot of things that specifically in climbing relate to time under tension, where it's like, oh, how long can you hand one arm on an X millimeter with this many fingers, right? It could be body weight, but that's still really hard. You don't need extra weight.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do you need extra weight when you're climbing outside? No. You need to be able to handle your weight with a low amount of limbs on a very thin edge or a big edge, but like a deeper lock off or whatever, right? But if you're just training and you're doing double-handed stuff, yeah, why not use both of your hands? Put on some weight. Understand like how to get like a big pull with both and like understanding how to explode. There's reasons to do both. It's just that, and this is a different tangent, I have strong issues with protocol versus pattern. Most people teach protocol and not pattern.
Okay. Can you explain the difference between the two?
Protocol, a series of instructions to follow.
Okay.
Pattern, how to create protocol. Like they're creating the system instead of just following a system. Most pieces of media that deal with exercises are do X reps of this. Most of them never talk. I'm saying most, but there are those that do. So like you can get at me. Most things have a replicate and follow, and it's much harder, both in terms of finding the audience for it, as well as just it also being included around the other of explaining how to program for yourself. Because at the end of the day, most things are built around, we'll say, well, I'm using so much negative words and thoughts in my head, a parasitic relationship between constantly needing a resource of information. So it's like if you teach, it's a bad analogy. If you teach a dog to do tricks, it doesn't go to you for tricks anymore, but that doesn't really work. But if you train someone to be so hyper skilled, they don't need you anymore for that skill, right? That works necessarily in the aspects of knowledge transfer. So it's like if you were the source of knowledge and someone acquired all of your knowledge source and you didn't have any other form of patternistic training to like explain how to draw the right conclusions around all of these things, how to program a working for yourself, how do you fit a workout under a certain time frame with these limited tools, right? Then there are some people that are just lost again, right? But that is, I guess, one of my inherent problems. I like things where either patterns are forced taught to me or I can gather all of those patterns for myself so I can continue moving. because just following a protocol doesn't yield learning.
Right.
It doesn't.
It's
Most people don't learn how to think. They learn how to, unfortunately, be good robots.
right, because it's at the end of the day, it's just easier. It's just simple to shut your brain off
and follow.
and follow.
Yes, I do lift now. Yes.
Yeah. Rather than like, because creating your own protocol, like creating your own training program and everything, like it's a lot of work.
And actually understanding it, not just being like, I have exercises, I'll do these.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what are my goals? What is my time frame? Do I want to hit this for this reason, or do I want to work on this? It's like, it's not just anymore a matter of, can I succeed in performing workout? Will I perform a workout that is actually, if I were to be from some true measure, in line with my future goal? Right. It's like the vector of direction to destination. A lot of people just focus on hitting destination of saying I completed a thing, but the destination that they hit might be off course from their actual goal. Right.
And another complication to add is that it's always changing.
Oh yeah,
because
in
like
the literature,
as you progress along like towards your goal, your plan should also be changing in relation to like where you've progressed, which is another hard part.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
Which is why like there are some tried and true systems with like weightlifting that if you understand all the aspects to the system, then you know how to program within the system, which is really good. It's like, in the sense, this is, I guess, top of the noggin for me recently, because I've needed to redesign an app in like the last week. I was trying to go down the road of, I don't know how to design anything. I really need to like have a jumping off point. So I was like, the material design system that Google made, I really like how much thought they put into all the elements and how all the elements like relate to one another. What is the purpose behind all these things? And it's like, okay, if I can learn how they think, then I just have to shift it in like a dimension focus for like how I could create my own system for the particular product that I was building. Right. Because I might not want it to be exactly what Google stuff looks like, but understanding the reasons of why they're related. A color should be like this, or a certain spacing or padding should be like this to denote this type of feeling, or kind of like a breathing room or an orientation or like space. Like there's so much thought into what they put into their system. So I super appreciate it. Not to put anything down for like Apple's system as well. I've been using, unironically, indirectly using theirs as well. And also like went down the road of researching theirs in the last like week to 2 weeks. Because I was trying to figure out, I have to redesign this. I have to think about things a specific way. Because I was always really good at getting just what designers were saying. I need it to look like this. I was like, okay, cool. Let me just ram my head into the keyboard for a while. Boom, it looks okay. Good. Does that look like it? Yes. All right. Next. But now, since I also do the designing, it's like I need to learn the thinking.
Right. It's like the higher level approach to it.
Yeah, but I do think that everyone should learn the low level, like depending on what field you're in or like what skill set you're trying to learn. But at the same time, leave room and leave that wonder to learn the higher level at the same time. Always practice the low level, do your reps, but then do a bit of reading. Like with climbing, you're going to get up on that wall. You might have a program where you're like, I'm going to do 3 3s, 3 4s, and a 5 today, right? That's at least that. I'm going to do a bunch of 0s to 2s. But when that's done, maybe your brain side of that hobby would be, I'm going to watch 2 IFSC finals that I really liked. Maybe one of the bouldering ones and one of the leads. And I'm going to try to spray commentary what I think the moves are. And would be an exercise of, can you sight read? Can you sight read what that person's about to do?
Yeah.
Can you guess what arm is supposed to go there? Can you guess? Do you know? Because you do that on the wall a lot. I think my hand's going to hit that pocket, and you get into the position right before. Like, my hand is not getting to that pocket. It's the left hand.
Yeah.
But it's good to practice being wrong without being in danger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Minimize risk.
some walls are scary, and you can do 1,000 to 1,000,000 simulations in your brain while you physically have a very limited muscle tank.
Yeah.
You don't want to hit terminal pump, or worse, when your fingers just ache.
Yeah.
And you just know that you can't hold that crimp anymore because it's just gonna bring you pain and sadness. Like right now, I even have a tinge, like a slight tinge of, I still have soreness from the climbing I did on just a few days ago. It was Saturday. Don't remember right now. Everything's a blur. But climbed really hard, just all the new front arch set, and there was just so many crimpy lock off stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is great because I hadn't climbed in a while, so I was feeling really strong on my crimps. But when the day was over, I was aching. It's like, why did every problem cause my left hand to like lock all the way in and reach right hand out? Or it's like the opposite. I'm thinking of right now the black 7 that's next to the green 7. So crimpy at the top.
I don't think I've tried that one yet.
It's like the green 7's the really burly, slopey one. It's the one facing the UFO.
Okay.
But there's like a black crimpy 7 right next to it that the top sequence is just awful. And I'm just thinking about it now because I still haven't done it.
Okay. So when you climb, or on your climbing days, do you have like a training program that you typically do or you follow?
I go based on right now whimsy. So I pick an area. Essentially, it's like I look at it as, okay, what are Matt stat points right now? Cool. What do I feel like working on today? So I pick an area. It's like, okay, let's work on some endurance today. Let's program that. All right, we're going to do this for the climbing set of the workout, and now we're going to do this in the training. Like tomorrow, in quotes, is supposed to be a sweat day, but I haven't climbed or trained hard in a while, so it's going to be a strong day. Okay. We're not going for endurance tomorrow. I'm going to try to, my goal is the blue 9. I'm going to try to be burly. And then it's going to, as soon as that's done, because I'll be doing really strong, beefy moves, probably going to do big, like lock off pull up work just to completely destroy that entire chain.
Yeah.
And with a little bit of push, because you need to always like work your antagonists. I think that's like a thing I took from weightlifting that was really important. It's like work your antagonistic muscles. If you're working the front side, work the back side. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some people that like to do back buys, and then there's people like chest tries. I just personally like doing the arms like all together as a unit. Like if I'm working buys, tries and shoulders are also going to get used. But if I'm doing big back, I would like to hit big chest because it's just those guys.
Right.
Okay. But I just kind of go in with a feeling. That's why tomorrow I'm just going to be burly and it's going to be a wonderful time. I might be actually training there tonight.
Okay. So do you, on your climbing days, do you have a specific, or do you go in, and then if you feel like you want to, let's say you want to train crimps, do you specifically focus on crimp problems?
Yeah. 1,000%.
Okay.
The whole day.
Okay.
And just to be very explicitly clear to climbers, if you're in a gym and you're not doing limit bouldering, if I see you full crimping, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
Okay.
Not only especially if it's like easy stuff, as in like not even close to your actual grade. Like, so we'll say that someone's just like a solid, they can hit 7s. They have a couple 6s in their belt, etc. If I see them full crimping on like a 3 or 4, I'm going to look at them weird. Like, come on, train your open hand. Train your engaged like half crimp.
Yeah.
Don't full crimp it. You don't need it. You should be working this area. Your 3-finger open hand, that should be your bread and butter. This should make you feel comfy.
Right.
This is your endurance grip. Like my hand naturally goes into a chisel where the index and the ring finger are fully straight, and then my middle finger is at a slight bend. Like that's just like my go-to soft grip. And I try to do that with everything because I care about mastering the movement because I don't need to crank.
Right.
But if I need to practice cranking my fulls, then yeah, I'm going to be working closer to my limit grade.
Right.
But never, I've noticed that on more than enough occasions recently. People have been saying that they've needed to stop full crimping. And then I'd look at them and be like, why are you full crimping so much to begin with? But I think it's because when I started climbing, I learned that tidbit early and I just stopped doing it 99% of all the times. What I tell people is in the gym specifically, open hand or nice, good half crimp all the times you want. Full crimp when you feel scared. I feel nothing wrong if someone is like full crimping because they're feeling terminal pump or they're like, they hit a section of a climb they have not hit before and it's like their project and they want to just send it. I'm like, crimp it, full crimp it, bleed. I don't care. Just like be safe.
Yeah.
Like full crimp it to make sure you don't get a bad fall. That's way more important. But if you're full crimping everything in the gym and it's just to like send some easy things, like you're just hurting yourself, man. You're also causing undue like pain.
Yeah.
Like my fingers almost never hurt unless I have like a big crimp day. Otherwise, I almost never get splits. I never have like any real achy hand thing. But at the same time, I also have a rather insane stretch protocol that, well, not even protocol at this point. Actually, no, it is. It is a protocol because I do it every time I'm in the sauna and I routinely like stretch myself constantly throughout the day. So yeah, I kind of mitigate a lot of those problems.
Okay. In terms of, okay, so just to recap, like full crimping should be used very situationally. When projecting.
When projecting or specifically training, like you want to train your full crimp.
Okay.
Like be thoughtful with your full crimp. It's supposed to be like your secret weapon.
Yeah.
Especially if you're outdoors. Like, yeah, crimp like your life depends on it because it does. Not hard. But in the gym, like train them, but intentionally. It's like, I want to do this hard climb or I'm going to go to the hangboard and I'm going to specifically practice like my crimping on that. Like to get that feel, that body tension you feel as well as like the finger feel.
Okay. In terms of finger strength, in terms of building finger strength. So I know that hangboarding is a very popular thing for climbers to do. Would you recommend that as like the primary tool or method to practice and strengthen your fingers, or would you also recommend other things?
It's a time and accessibility thing. I think from how I've seen it, if you have limited time, especially hangboarding is probably your easiest road to seeing immense gains in the climbing gym.
Okay.
So like if you're a person that's literally dying during the week, you just can't climb until like you have that awesome 6-hour session on the weekend.
Yeah.
You should probably be doing a chill to semi-chill hangboarding like series of protocols Monday through Thursday. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then you rest your fingers Thursday, Friday to be super strong by Saturday. Like some kind of form to be prime for your climbing, because climbing is what matters. Like don't waste your fingers hangboarding.
Yeah.
But if you have nothing that you can do, you should hangboard.
Okay.
Or pull up, like either, just period. But when it comes to the hangboarding side of things, from my research, because I like to say I have baby fingers because I do. I also have, if I had to say like climbing video game traits, my level of bite is so low compared to other people. People are so willing to like bite through immense pain to like get through a climb.
Yeah.
I'm under always the infinite guise of, it's just a gym problem. I'm jumping off. I don't care. I don't care enough. My hands are going to feel fine and I don't need this problem. But hangboarding, you don't need to put on weight. You don't have to do an insane amount of seconds. My rule in life, even with like stretching, is find resistance, not pain. Work to the point where you feel something, but it shouldn't really hurt you.
Right.
Like I think it's simple. Like even at home, if you have a hangboard, we'll just say like the Beastmaker. Everyone has seen like the 1000 and 2000s. I personally like the 2000 because of the slopey. The big slopey.
Yeah,
It's
the one on
really,
top.
it's really good.
Yeah.
I like training the slopey pull up. But you can even just practice what I would call like a soft hang, where you have your legs on the ground and all you're doing is just you're feeling load, like you load your fingers on the holds. You still have your legs on the ground, but you go into a slightly soft knee bend, and your only goal is to hit time. So you hold that soft bend, and you're like, I'm gonna hit for 20 seconds, because you know good and well you're not gonna feel pain in those hands,
Right.
but at the end you're gonna feel really sore, right? But when that's too easy, then do body weight. Just hang, chill, hold, chill. 3-finger open, 4 half, or specifically practice your full crimp. Like you can do all of these things at time. You just don't have to go crazy enough that it hurts. And then also give yourself the affordance to be ready for an actual climb day,
Right.
which, depending on how you're eating and sleeping and stretching, that might vary for some people.
Right.
Do you hangboard?
There was a period of time when I did. I did a little bit of research on it as well, and I found out that you shouldn't hangboard the same days that you climb.
I can generally agree with that. For most.
For most, yeah. So I would hangboard on my off days when I was like just training. But I haven't hangboarded for a while. Like there was just maybe like 1 month that I did it. But after that, I haven't touched it really.
Did you find any serious gains from performing that?
Um, Not
Or was
really.
it, yeah. Oh, what
Yeah.
kind of protocol did you follow?
I did like 1 minute, um, 1 minute set, 7 seconds on, 3 seconds off.
Okay. And then you
Um,
rest for the remaining 50? Oh, wait. So it's seven space three for a minute?
yeah,
So you
yeah. So
did
like
that
six
six
sets.
times?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So 6 times in a minute. And I did that like maybe 3 times. But I don't know if it wasn't like long enough, or if like I didn't do that enough times
Mm-hmm.
over a long period of time
Yeah.
that I didn't feel the result.
Did you, this is one thing that I like to stress.
Mhm.
Did you have a test protocol,
A test protocol?
an assessment protocol?
No, like where my base strength is at.
Yeah.
No,
Because
I
if you
did not.
don't have something to limit test in a controlled environment, how do you ever feel that you made a progress? If you have nothing to weigh it on.
Right.
Like for me, when I first started my fitness journey, I couldn't do a pull up. Then I got one. And then it's like, can I get 10? All right, I got 10. Can I do 100 in a day? All right, I did 100. Right. Always understanding like where your limit is a really nice marker to understand and feel that you got physically stronger. So with certain handboarding protocols, like what I would recommend to people, we'll say for someone who's already strong, someone's climbing, they have strong fingers. One protocol for them would be, what is my max weight hang at for 30 seconds?
Okay.
Right? So there's a bit of time involved. So it's not like a limit strength test. It's really like an endurance strength test. How long could I hang with 3 fingers on a 20 mil? And then I always make like a breaking clause, I guess what I would tell people. If I break the minute, I already succeed. And that means I have to go up in weight. And that just means the next month is at the very minimum, X% more than last. Right?
Right.
So it's like I did 30 seconds at 30 pounds. I broke 1 minute at 30 pounds with a 3-finger open hand. That means next month you have to at least do 35.
I see.
And if you pass that again at 1 minute, all right, next month I have to at least do 40. But the thing is, while you're doing that, you're gonna check and see if you can just do 40 anyway. Or you're going to check and see, can I just do 45? It's a crazy idea. Let me see if I can hang for 45.
No.
And then from there, you're constantly adjusting your difficulty to a range that is adequate to continue the protocol while also testing the limit test, while getting you to the limit test, which is X amount of time at X weight, etc. but you can change what those X, Y, and variables are for whatever you're trying to train. But always try to have an assessment period, where you're at, establish baseline, and where do you want to be.
Right.
And you can do that with everything. You can do that everything in life. You can do that specifically in training. Really easy in training.
Right. Because it's all in relation to where you want to be.
Yeah. Most people don't have that.
Yeah.
Well, you just ask me like, oh, what do you want to be? I want to be stronger. Well, no. Beep. It's like, in what? All right. So you want to be able to do this problem. Okay. So I can look at this problem and see it looks really crimpy. So you're saying that you want to have like better crimp strength for that crux. Yeah. It's like, I can't hold that crux. It's like, so you need better crimp strength. It's like, yeah. All right, cool. I'll program you this like hangboarding routine. It sounds like from this move that you need to be able to hold an offset angle from your left hand and right hand. And you need to be able to really lock it off with that left hand for at least like 10 seconds with no feet. It's like, yeah, okay. Then I'd probably walk them over to the campus board, put your left hand on the 9, put your right hand like 2 rungs down on the right one. Can you hang at that? They go up. No, I can't. Cool. You're going to start working this.
Right? Specifically, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, don't be dumb. Train asymmetry. Switch the hands in elevation. So like, you don't grow up oblong.
Yeah.
You don't want that. But that's like how you can break down even for climbs. It's like, I can't do this crux. What is the crux? I got to hold my weight like this. It's like, so you're telling me you need compression power? It's like that. Yeah, sure. All right, cool. So do X exercises that you could look up if you don't want to ask me to build compression strength and find a way to pick and find out what number you're at now, because that number you're at now means you can't do that crux.
Yeah.
So your goal is to increase that number by some means over X time. And you can continue to try that problem. And you're going to notice as long as your baseline average goes up.
Right.
It's simple math. It's not hard.
Right.
The hard part is doing the protocol.
It's basically like progressive overloading in weight training.
But you can apply that to everything. You just need to know how to assess it.
Yeah.
You have to want to assess it. Most people don't like assessing. That's just like a self-judgment thing. You should try the 9C test with me next time.
What is it?
You should look it up. I forgot who invented the test, but it's essentially this really funny test where there's 4 different movements. You have max weight pull-up, as in how much percentage added
to body weight?
to your body weight can you do 1 rep.
Okay.
Then there's max weight 20 millimeter dead hang, 5 seconds.
Okay.
What's the highest amount of weight that you can have on your body in relation to your body where you hang in whatever finger form? I think they specifically wanted open hang or half crimp as like the hold you do. And can you hang on that for 5 seconds on a 20 mil? Okay. Third was like a core related one where you either do like a hanging knee raise, hanging L sit, or you do a full on lever. And the 10 point for the lever is, can you lever for 30 seconds? That's how you get the full points for that guy. And then the last one, just honest, it's just hell. It's terminal pump, the exercise. How long can you hang on the bar? I think the full points for that one is 4.5 minutes or something like that, or 5, something. Wow. It's something crazy. I think the highest I ever got was 3.5. But wow, it's like,
it's long.
It's just long.
It's long.
It's like, listen to a good song, drown it out. But you calculate all these numbers from all those lifts, and it relates to like what your grade to send would be just using raw power. And it's like their scale. And when I did the test, I was in the 7-8 camp, and it just said straight up, you're a V8. I was just like, wow, that's on the dot.
Wow.
But it just said pure power.
Yeah, not technique.
Not technique, nothing. Like, Are you strong? All right, there's probably a boulder out there that's V8 that is just burly. You could do it. You could do it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can understand this.
Just raw power.
Just raw power. Can you throw? Can you not even throw? Because it's not like a catching aspect. It's just raw pull.
Okay, I'm actually very interested. I want to see. I want to see.
Do it for yourself, and then be like, now, how do I increase all of these points in all these categories over the next month. Build your training around increasing those.
Okay.
The lever ones, like you just need a way stronger core, or it might be that your back is too weak and you can't like hold the push down aspect of the lever.
Yeah.
It's like there are two aspects. You'll identify what those are when you do more things like that at time. The time on bar, can you handle terminal pump? Hanging on bar is just literally terminal pump. Your hand just feels like it's a rock. It starts to being on fire, it starts being prickly, and you just want to let go.
Yeah.
How long and how much pain can you endure? You're not going to get hurt. You're literally hanging, a foot off the ground? Right. If you're doing this like in a safe place, how long can you hang?
Yeah.
Literally nothing can go wrong aside from, and they also say with the hang, you can't adjust your hand.
Okay.
So it's just hand sticks on. Oh, and also no thumb. Hand sticks on, no thumb, and just how long can you just hold? Just right there.
Is this gym grade or outdoor?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But regardless, it's like, regardless of what the grade is, or like, your grade's soft, your gym's soft, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's all relative. So if I increase my relative score, which said V8 when I did this, and it says now V10, I have made X% increase. That'll translate somewhere. It doesn't matter what your gym's grade is, bro.
Right.
This is my only gym. So to me, I've gone from V0 climber to V9 climber. And if my gym be soft, cool. It's still relative.
I mean, V0 to V9 is a huge jump. Like, a lot of progress.
Yeah, like I remember my first day, I think I did, it was still like really confusing movement. I did lots of 1s and 2s. I think I did 1-3. And I was just like, why my hand feel like it's not going to close anymore? I remember specifically, it was on the Cobra head. And it was just a slopey, palmy black problem.
Yeah.
And when I finished it, I was just like, my hands, they don't want to close, but I needed to like hit the top. That was freaky. But everything's relative. So just train relatively. Doesn't matter what anyone else had done. Doesn't matter like what their body chemistry is. Track your numbers.
All right. Okay. One more thing I want to ask is skin health in terms of fingers, because recently I feel like one thing that's been limiting how much or how strong I can climb is like my fingers, like it hurts. Like my fingers hurt.
Can you describe the pain?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a burning. But like I find that when I climb during like a climbing session, I'll find that my fingers are like very sensitive and raw. And like, of course, this happens to everyone when they first start climbing, because they're not used to the holds. But then like after a period of time, you get used to it. And I'm finding that it's happening again to me.
Okay.
Like I've been climbing pretty consistently over the past couple of weeks, so I don't think it's like because my hands or my skin hasn't got like reverted back or just became less sensitive or just became more sensitive. But are you familiar with like this happening, or has this happened to you before?
Yes, and there's actually a lot of factors at play.
Okay.
One, route setting is unfortunately like a hidden factor in it. If you notice that the holds are real fresh, those kind of hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
When they got like the new egg holds, the back one, holy, everyone was talking about the rawness of the fingers.
Yeah.
Like some fresh holds do hurt. That's one. Two, and this is what I notice more from, we'll call them newerish climbers. It might not even be like the better bucket. But the idea of when you stick a move, your hand does not move. You don't readjust inside the hold. You don't twist or pivot while your fingers are still maintaining contact. It's your fingers stick on, they apply the pressure, they don't move, and you immediately stick on something else. Because as long as you're just immediately pressing down and you're not cheese grating, no minor movements in any direction, I walk out of the gym with zero pain. As long as it's not like a sandpapery hold. But whenever you're going for a move, you overshoot it a little bit, your finger kind of glides down into the hold, and you have those, what I call like the elbow shimmies.
Yeah.
where you're trying to like adjust just perfectly so your hands in the,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're just shaving your hand. You are shaving your fingers down,
Uh-huh.
trying to find that perfect pull.
Mhm.
But if you just try to say that, ding, I landed my hands on the spot,
Mhm.
they are not moving.
Okay.
You just twist the wrist, but the fingers don't move. Hit the next hold. When you grab a pinch, your fingers aren't moving, period. They never shift. You just reach for the next one. Because if you allow your fingers to shift while maintaining grip, you're just sandpapering.
Okay.
So that's one that I notice more people do. I watch so many people doing the adjusties,
Yeah.
the adjusty elbows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good because like it allows you to get that better feels to go for the next bigger move. But there's a lot of people that do it habitually. They just like they hit a really easy move or an easy jug that is sandpaper, and you watch them just moving their elbow around, just
Yeah.
trying to get the prime spot. Like climbing ain't about prime.
Mm.
It's about making sure you get better at hitting prime more often instead of like adjusting to it.
Right.
I guess practicing dead pointing in a philosophical sense, you hit the spot every time, not hitting close to it and then adjusting to it. You hit the spot and getting really good at doing that.
All right. Because if you don't let yourself readjust, then you would naturally get better at finding the perfect spot to land.
Mm-hmm. And you get better at just saying, okay, so this is all I get. I don't get to move. All right, I'll make it work. Unless like you're obviously in a really awful like wrist position, because sometimes you need to go from tilting your hand one way into a literal flip so it's the opposite direction.
Right.
Then you're literally changing your entire hand placement. I'm talking about your hand hits a crimp or a slope or a certain way, and you wiggle it around until it's roughly this exact same shape it was when it grabbed it. Yeah, that's shaving.
Okay. Okay.
It'll be fine. I'm actually very curious. I haven't climbed with you in a while.
Yeah, we haven't. We haven't in a bit.
I'll be there tomorrow. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Unironically, I'm not there tomorrow. I'll be there. I'm there tonight. I thought about it. It's like, wait, I'm there tonight.
Okay. Okay, last question, last two questions before we end off here.
Yeah.
What are you currently learning?
Ooh. I just got into a series of development that I had never really done in the past. I had dabbled. This is specifically around like backend development. Backend being, APIs, services, because I've primarily been on the front side of things, being an iOS developer. So I've been just trying to learn how to set one up myself. I had done it before in the past with like a Node course. Just I should never speak about backend stuff because I sound like a person that fails an interview, a backend interview, because I understand it code wise, being able to write the code. But if someone asks me how to set up any of it, I'm failing. But I can read code and modify the code to make, I guess, requirements met. So, for example, about half a decade ago, I was working on a project that there were some bugs in the back end and the other engineers couldn't get to them in time. So I was like, can I just look and see those files and maybe I can make the changes? I had no idea how the system hit these blocks of code, but I knew that if I just changed the code that was in that block to just access or permutate the information differently, I would get the result that was not working. So I make those changes and I would fix it. Like, cool, done. Matt, you're a backend developer now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a person that understands code and can make tiny edits to fix logic. Don't know how to set up anything of what you did. It's kind of like how someone can use, a chat GPT or whatever to have it design something. But if you're not an engineer, you don't know how to architect something. You don't understand the greater system because it might just add a lot of code bloat. Or you might not even understand how to edit it, like to properly edit it to where like you need the component to be. And that's like where the human brain comes in for now. AI is eventually going to crush us, but especially in the coding space.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty interesting. Okay. What's something that you're struggling with?
Struggling. Ooh. How much time do we have? um,
And shoot.
shoot.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh. Ooh. I was like, oh, there's so many meaty subjects here because I'm just like wallowing in this unfortunate space of self worth. That
Mm,
also fun subject of like what is the point of anything? Like
mm,
I've been thinking a lot about existence lately.
okay.
Existence, place in society, value, like I think about environmental value a lot. We can actually talk about that one.
Environmental.
Environmental value.
Okay.
And imagine it as like this fictitious quotient where you walk into the gym and you look at the sea of people and you can just like see a number that is on a scale from 0 to 10 and you can just look at them and understand within every friend group who is like adding the most environmental value to that group, who's the one like either showing people what to do, who's making people laugh, or like who's adding to the vibes, right?
Uh,
And you can also tell sometimes who's down in the vibe. You can look at them. It's like
mm,
that person looks like they're having a bad time, and other people around them are looking like they're having a less good time.
right.
So environmental value,
Okay.
right? And it's really bad to want to quantify these things, but my brain doesn't turn off.
Mm,
And I just kind of think about lately, it's like, who and what like influences this number? Because it's not like it's a number to be utilized, but for me, it's if I don't feel like I'm adding to the scenario, I
mm,
would rather just be a happy viewer from far away, right?
like uninvolved.
Yeah, uninvolved. Just like you guys are doing great. I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Feel the vibes by yourself. But if you need me, I'm somewhere.
Uh,
Right?
uh-huh.
And also just I think about this a lot when it comes to group conversations, right? You're going to see a series of people get into certain topics. You could chime in with a witty bit
Mhm.
or make some potentially tangential banter that might lead to a new chain of conversation.
Yeah.
But then it's like, wow, the vibes are so good right now. Everyone's really loving this like topic and things. And they continue to go down. It's like, I'm just going to sit here with this amazing bowl of food and just take in the moment. This is great. I'm just going to
Mm,
watch. I'm just going to listen. This is fine.
mhm.
But there are those tendencies or triggers where like, oh, I want to be involved. I want to,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
step in.
First.
But I'm more in the camp now so of looking at it as, and this is where the negative, what am I struggling with?
Mhm.
It's like, what is the value of existence? And that this also like semi relates to before talking about my relationship with like the physical side of things,
Mhm.
people, places, things. It's like we're all just going to be dust. Legacy doesn't exist. The only thing that matters is the time and vibes that you have with the people that you do interact in your environments, be
Right.
it work, be it school, be it gym, be it online gaming, etc.
Mhm.
It's like, are you adding to them? Are you adding to that environment? Are you potentially a negative? Do you take negative environmental stress that you've experienced outside and you bring it to a new environment? Like, did you have a
Mm.
horrible day at work and you walk around looking like an actual rain cloud is just on you and you just look like
Yeah.
a pariah?
Yeah.
Or do you potentially take the flip side of that? You had the worst day at work. For some reason, you were standing underneath you just got some bumps on. You're just walking back to
Mhm.
your office with a nice fat matcha milk ice cream, and for some reason, a bird, like as you're about to cross the street, just one clean shot onto the top of your ice cream. It's like, wow, I was looking forward to this all day.
Uh,
They got ruined.
yeah.
Someone can be really sad. Another person can laugh about it and tell everyone in the gym, and then continue to have a bomb time climbing. Right.
That's true.
So environmental value and just I guess the to bring it back to me and what I'm struggling with, I struggle a lot with oh, this sounds really dark. like if I wasn't here anymore, the world just goes on. It's like
Mm,
I might just move again and I might never see these people again.
mm,
But at the same time, I've continued to feel that my entire life. So nothing changes. Nothing changes. Everything moves on. What is the point of anything? I was like, well, that's full nihilism. Let's dial it back. Let's like let's keep it in a simpler space. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I want to do what I can for the people that I'm around. I want to make sure people can hit goals, especially like that's an area that I care about. And if there's some way that I can help facilitate those things, I'm super happy.
mm-hmm.
Especially with the climbing gym, everyone's general health and wellness is on the top of my mind. So if someone comes to me with like a real inquiry or a real ask, as long as my one thing is don't be weird, and I'm willing to just about help you with anything, right? Just
Yeah.
don't be weird. It's really simple.
Yeah.
Don't be weird or, all right, brief tangent. I have big problems when you notice situations from your POV where someone is trying to get your attention
Uh-huh.
instead of just physically talking to you. Like if you have something to say or you want me to talk to you,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate this type of interaction. I understand it's coy, but I find it to be annoying. I'd rather just like, for example, if there's someone that I really just genuinely feel like I want to talk to, weird. I just walk up and talk to them. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Or if someone wants to get my attention, like the friends that know me, what do? They walk up. What's up, man? Like, oh, what's up?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah.
But if it's this really awkward, I'm just going to be close, but never there, never talk. Just, I would rather have some kind of like mental switch and be like, this person I just can't see anymore. Because it's just like a waste of like side eye.
Yeah.
It's like, I've one day, maybe when the chips are in all of our brains, I can just have a mental block list where I physically just don't see them anymore. The world would be pretty clean. See, that's where it gets dark.
Wow.
But yeah, I struggle a lot with, well, yeah, to end that tangent, I don't like the coying for attention. Like if you have something to say and you want to do something cool, yo, I'm down for an adventure. I literally still to this day play the game of pretend. It's just now called D&D and there's structure around it. Like there ain't nothing wrong with just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
But if that person is potentially not an environmental ad for me, as in I just feel like one, the conversation might be not good. Two, something might feel oddly parasitic, like they want something from me. That's also a horrible feeling. And I'm pretty sure you know what that feeling is.
Yeah.
Like just please go away.
Right.
And it's not a conversation that can really just be held. Like you don't just want to like walk up to them and be like, you know, can you just go?
Yeah. It's not like so socially acceptable to just do that.
No, but at the same time, I want people to just kind of live and do their things. But I'm not a fan of people encroaching on others. Even when I see it like for other people, it's like I'm not going to step in because I just think that also is a naturally chaotic feels like a strong word to use, but chaos just in the sense that it's not stagnant. Like it's a chaotic act. It changes state instead of like a static state.
Right.
I'm just fine with things being like we can all be chill, we can all be cool.
Right.
Just keep it simple.
Right.
But yeah, struggling with the essence of being. That is me.
In terms of like the environmental value, like do you so I understood like the basically like the concept of it, like assigning a numeric value.
Yeah, it's like a gut feeling. I mean, numerics just kind of help accentuate it, but the idea is it positive charge or negative charge?
Okay.
Like you can ask your gut any question, and in your mind, you know which side it's on. It's whether or not you want to accept it.
Right. Being honest with yourself.
Yeah. You can be wrong. Your gut can be wrong, but it has an answer.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
do you like this person? Your gut will clearly tell you yes, big yes,
Uh-huh.
no, big no. Right?
Right. So my question with that is like do you find trouble finding um your own value within these settings?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I constantly struggle with understanding whether or not people are one, mad at me, two, people are having fun, three, uh, if something I'm saying came across as like mean or some way. I have,
Mm.
I would say that is one of my very bad social perceptions because
Mm.
I don't believe it. I have a
Uh-huh.
strong problem with, I mean, just like my trust system is really fucked from like things that have just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So I try to ask direct questions when I hit like those points. It's like, is this? And they're just like, not at all, Matt. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Because my brain will just start spinning and
Yeah.
it's just like a really negative pit hole.
Right.
Um, and I'm not someone who just kind of like lingers in there and I guess festers and dies in it because I'm pretty, I guess, good at diverting the brain to stop spinning. Spinning is what I call when your brain has a singular thought, like
Mhm.
X person hates me, X person hates me. It's because of this. It's it's all centering around the same feeling, and you're constantly generating new thoughts. Even if they are the
Mm.
same thoughts, it's like you're saying them again at a different time. It's like constantly spinning, right?
Right.
I'm pretty good at when I notice that I'm spinning, I just need to hyper focus on something else. And lately for me, and it has worked out wonderfully in a not physical body sense from the lack of sleep, but I've been cranking really hard at building. And that's been good. You know,
Mhm.
we can divert the attention from that into to something positive.
Right. Right.
Because at least like coding, as much as I hate it, I absolutely hate coding
Mhm.
because I find it to be an unnecessarily tedious task.
Mm.
But physically seeing your work appear is dope.
Yeah.
It's like I just wrote thousands of lines of code and now that thing appears and does all this other stuff. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Like you have something to show for
Like
all the work.
it's there. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one satisfying thing. I think coding itself is a completely awful process with an awesome destination.
Mhm.
But you know, some people like the process and hate the destination. It's like for coding, I'm unfortunately the other side. Climbing, the process is everything. Like if the process ain't fun, like why are you doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, all right. Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, had a great time.
Do you have anything you'd like to end off on? Anything like any last words of
Mm,
advice or anything?
words of advice. There's one phrase that actually kind of leads up into the Instagram handle that I have now, which is just ascend.ig.
Mhm.
And this was coming off the darkest point in my life.
Mhm.
Unironically, kind of this is where I fit squarely in the bell curve. I think I watched Free Solo in May of 2019 and I
Uh,
went climbing in June.
wow.
But the climbing in June was outside of like my I guess forthright action. It just happened to be that my lead at the time happened to climb, and the office where that job was 2 blocks away from HB.
Oh.
It was like, oh yeah, a couple of us are going to climb at Hollywood Boulders. Do you want to come after work? And I was just like,
Uh-huh.
in my brain, it's like, I just watched Free Solo. I have to try this.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
I gotta have it. And I fell in love with it immediately that I immediately got an Airbnb next door to it and then found an apartment within walking distance of it. Like
Wow.
everything was like, this is awesome. I'm going to throw my thoughts into this.
Uh-huh.
But now back to like the name and like the worst to leave everyone off with. It's just a really dark place. And I watched that movie. And for some reason, not, I would say directly after or like relating to it, I realized what I needed because I was in the dark place that, you know, people like to talk about where, you know, you want to turn off the game forever.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, I have my anchors, the people that that their existence makes you want to like continue staying. Like people have those things, like what they are, be it a person, an ideal, etc. Right? We
Right.
all have those things. And when those things are gone, well, if nothing's tethering you to being there anymore, that is unfortunately a potential recourse. But I was just sitting there. It's like, okay, I have my anchors, but I need something to focus on. Because if I don't have a direction, I'm just going to stay next to death's door.
Mm.
And, I might just like fall in one day. And that's bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need to face a different direction. It's like, I need something. And I was thinking about what has like always made me happy. And for me, being lifelong gamer, like that's just that too many stories. Um, the one thing that has always felt good is trying really hard at something.
Mm.
It's just as long as I do that, I'm
Mhm.
having a great time.
Yeah.
And when I'm not allowed to try really hard at something, that's when I notice I wither away,
Mm.
uh, physically and mentally. Like, for
Mhm.
example, one huge problem that I have is if I'm around people that I noticed my environmental value goes down because I'm doing well at something and they feel bad, like that
Mm.
type of feeling,
Yeah.
I will just leave.
Yeah.
I've been around enough people in situations where people have like quit things because I've been good at things.
Wow.
So it's just like, I'll just go away.
Yeah.
Have fun, enjoy your thing. I don't want to ruin it for you
Yeah.
because I mean, I understand what it's like if someone just walks in, never does a thing, and is immediately godlike at it. You feel pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a bit of like, ego can be hurt, or just like, wow, I worked so hard at this and you just naturally destroyed all of my efforts or naturally destroyed all of my obstacles that
Mm.
like I have been trying to beat myself.
Yeah.
It's like that can be fairly demoralizing. And to relate it back to in quotes environmental value, which I feel like people are going to look at me a very different way after after this podcast, but it's just there's many things that make my brain work. If I feel like that's happening, I will just go away. I
Mm.
wish nothing bad. It's just that if I know that me just simply existing kind of downs the mood or environment by what I'm just trying to do, I'm just going to do it somewhere else.
Right.
Pretty simple. And that's just kind of thankfully my low attachment to the physical side of things. It's like I always think about if I just randomly came into like grotesque sum of money,
Mhm.
yo, people ain't hearing about me. Like I'm ready to be the man in the woods.
You're just
But
gone.
yeah, just gone. But then, keep in contact with all of like all the close ones and just,
Yeah.
do things with them. But I am very ready for like that the man that lives on a self-sustaining plot who's constantly learning, training, and like building things
Mm.
that potentially the world will never see. I'll just be constantly trying things
Mhm.
with with that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna pick up woodworking this year. Boom. And I make like all the furniture in my house. Like those are like the things that the weird projects and plans that I would one day do.
Mm.
It's like, all right, this year I'm gonna be a crazy chef. And I would just learn all of the arts by myself. Like just brute force learn,
Yeah.
or hang out at certain people's places, fly the world, just like do things like that. But yeah, the line that I want to leave people with, and the line that I ultimately left for myself, which was like my old IG tag,
Mhm.
was why perpetuate mediocrity when you could strive to ascend daily? And
Mm.
the reason why like that came up was as long as you're doing something in the direction of a goal every day,
Mhm.
every day is bright.
Right. Right. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. All right. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Alan. It was a fun time.